Welcome back, everybody. It's still cold month.
Cold month, cold month. Everybody loves some cold month. It's also a Jiglet episode.
And I know we might have said this last time. I can't remember, but it's on like Jeepers Creepers.
That is the cold month song, everybody.
I actually liked the Jeepers Creepers movies.
Did you?
You know,
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
I thought they were
I thought they were
interesting.
so trash.
Well, they're hella cheesy and like poorly put together, but I kind of thought they were pretty entertaining.
Yeah. We have a family friend that was in there. One of the Jeepers Creepers movies.
Really?
Yeah, Michael Papa John is his name.
Like Papa John?
Yeah, Papa John. Yeah, that's what we call him. Actually, funny story.
Like
so,
the pizza?
do you know in Transformers 2?
Yeah.
So Papa John, he was Papa John, when Spider-Man came out, he was the criminal who killed Uncle Ben.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the first, like the Tobey Maguire one.
Yeah.
So I got
the
a bunch
one
of
he hunts
like
down in the like abandoned building.
Yeah, so I got a bunch of like Spider-Man merch from like on the set and stuff, which is cool.
That
like
is-
my
that is pretty
laptop backpack is literally that's from the set.
Really?
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Which
I
is
didn't
cool.
really know that though. That's awesome.
Yeah, but in Transformers, it's cool. He plays Michaela, Megan Fox's dad,
Mm-hmm.
and like in the second one, and he just has a quick little part, but he's like working on a motorcycle, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the movie, if you go into the credits, it says Michael Papa John, and guess what his name is? Cal. It's a little fun fact for you guys out there.
Well, that's awesome. You know what else is awesome?
What?
Cult movies.
Yeah, they are.
You know what my favorite one is?
Which one?
You don't know?
No, I don't know which one.
The Empty Man.
That's your favorite one, though?
That is one of my favorites.
Interesting.
I wouldn't say it's like my top, but
Yeah,
it's definitely up there.
it's a good one.
I just that movie took such a crazy twist.
Well, I think
It's so long, and the movie's so
Yeah.
vastly different throughout the whole thing.
yeah, like the first opening, it's like 30 minutes into the movie, and it feels like you're just this is the movie. And then
like
all of a
they're gonna
sudden,
get haunted by this spirit that
Yeah,
they
like-
fucked with.
out in the wilderness, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, who's this guy? And what? And then it's this whole cult thing in the hospital at the end when everybody was doing that crazy stuff. That was cool.
They like dropped to their knees and just smiled at
Uh.
the person like in the room, and then they drop to their knees, and you're like, you got God.
Yeah,
son.
yeah, I know. Yeah, he thought he won, and then no, cult movies are fun. I mean, I'm a sucker. That's why we're doing this. I'm a sucker for cult stuff.
Well, they're just so interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of what we talked about in the first one with Heaven's Gate. If you haven't seen that, Cult Month did start last week with Heaven's Gate,
Mhm.
which was pretty interesting.
Yeah, go check that episode out because it is wild,
Yeah, and
especially if you don't know.
it was a very, very wacky thing. But we talked about how, the human mind is such a powerful thing, and yet it's so easy to manipulate, it seems. And it's just a very interesting thing. I mean, you can go kind of like lower stakes where it's, like a boyfriend telling a girlfriend that he's going to change, but like he doesn't. But every time he says it, she's like, okay, for sure. It's manipulation.
Exactly. Over time.
It's
right?
because we talked about it's something that you want to believe. So you end up believing it.
Mhm.
And even if there's a shadow of a truth in there somewhere, you choose to believe it. And
hoping that things will change.
you get that assurance.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like with the Heaven's Gate and these cults, it's larger stakes than that, but you can kind of tie it into the fact that, these people, they can create these strange ideas, but it's the promise of a better life. You just have to follow me. And all of a sudden, you end up gaining a lot of popularity and a lot of people join your cult. So
It's crazy that like following someone is vastly different than commanding people to do certain actions though. Right?
Yeah.
You can follow someone because maybe they are promising you better life, but if someone tells you to do something and your only choice is to do it, like you have no free will at that point.
Yeah. I don't know if I said it in the last one, but there's an episode of The Office where Creed, he goes, it's like, yeah, I've been in a cult before. He goes, you make more money as a leader, but you have more fun as a follower. And it's like, okay, pretty funny.
It's like, manipulation is crazy. We could even be in this episode and throughout the episode just say, continue to watch our podcast. Just like little bits here and there. And then people would probably just subconsciously start not even listen for it, but just hear it all the time.
I think
little messages like throughout the episodes or any, like even a movie.
I think if we did it, it would have to be like, if you listen to our podcast, then good things will happen to you. Because that's kind of what it is. It's like, if you do certain things, something good will happen to you. And usually that's, unfortunately with these big cults, it's, it usually ends in disaster. But for us, I mean, hey, you might get good fortune. I'm not saying you will, but I'm saying you might if you like our podcast. I mean, if you like every episode that we've come out with already, you might get good luck. I'm just saying, you might. There's a chance.
We have. Lately.
I'm just saying.
Lately things are good.
You might.
You know else how you get a good fortune?
How else?
Panda Express.
I love Panda. Honestly, that would be so funny if that was our ad read. You know what? Good fortune, Panda Express. And you can get Panda Express.
Well, I just find it
funny. Use code Supernatural. I'm just kidding.
I just find it funny because every time we've eaten there the past few times, our fortunes have been kind of on brand.
Oh,
so
100%.
heavily.
100%. Yeah.
It's kind of been weird. I don't believe in it. No superstition like that, but it's been strange.
Or maybe it is like the fortune cookie episode in Rick and Morty. If you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. Let's jump into some more cult stuff, shall we?
Yeah.
Today we're talking about someone pretty crazy, very well known. I kind of would believe so, that people would know him. He's a pretty wild dude. So if you don't know, today we're talking about the Manson family cult.
Charlie? Good old Charlie?
Charles.
Speaking of cult movies, you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yet, have you?
I have not. I know Cal's been trying to get me to watch it constantly.
So
either I just forget or don't have time.
Once upon a time in Hollywood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a Quentin Tarantino movie, if you don't know, and it's solid. Stars Leo and Brad Pitt and a bunch of other people.
There's a lot of big time actors and actresses now in it
that
are big now, right?
It's funny because a lot of people that are so basically the whole movie takes place during this time, kind of like the golden age of Hollywood, pretty much, and it follows Leo, who's an aspiring actor, like he's kind of like a has-been or whatever, and then Brad Pitt's his stunt double, and it's just like them kind of going on
are they friends or do they hate each other?
No, they're like best friends.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They're going on, they kind of have like these wacky adventures and stuff, and it's just like it's pretty funny. And then at a certain point, it's just they kind of sprinkle in Margot Robbie because she's in it, and she plays Sharron Tate. Now, if you know Sharron Tate, we're going to be talking a lot about Sharron Tate today. I believe. And, so she plays Sharron Tate and she's in the film, but she has a separate story. And you're like, I wonder why they just keep showing Margot Robbie. And then all of a sudden they introduce Brad Pitt's character. He ends up meeting Margaret Qualley, and she, who's huge now. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to take you to my friends. And so they go to Spawn Movie Ranch, which, is, I'm assuming we'll also be talking about.
We will.
And there's a whole bunch of people there, from Austin Butler to Sydney Sweeney to Dakota Fanning to Victoria Pedretti to Margaret Qualley to it's just all these, to Mikey Madison to Maya Hawke, these actors who are just insane now, and or they're just in everything, and they all play part of Charles Manson's cult. So but it's kind of cool.
Plays Charles Manson?
Just some guy.
Just some guy.
Just some guy. He's not really in it too much because it's mostly about his followers, right? His followers
do everything
for him, but
All right. We'll get into that.
Yeah. But basically it's a good movie because if you do know what happened, I mean, obviously we'll dive into it, but if you do know what happens, at the end of the movie, everything kind of ties together and you think that you're like, oh man, I know what's going to happen. This is going to suck. And then Tarantino puts his own spin on it. And God, it's one of the best endings like ever. You're just laughing the whole time. Just like, dude, it's so funny. Freaking Brad Pitt.
I do have to give it a watch at some point.
So instead of breaking into Sharron Tate's house, they break into Leonardo DiCaprio's house and Brad Pitt just happens to be there and he's tripping acid. And it's like the funniest thing. Dude, no,
I'll have to give it a watch.
It's good, yeah.
Is it on anything?
I mean, I own it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ease of access. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yeah, it's a good one. You know, Tarantino's known for like his blood and stuff, you know? Mm-hmm. Big like in the whole movie, you're like, this is weird because you're like, how would this ever turn into some crazy like bloodbath? And then at the end, you're like, oh, never mind. There it is.
I'm kind of genuinely curious if every person that has their stunt double is like kind of friends with them, or do they just see each other in passing and that's kind of it? Maybe they don't even see each other on set. I know that there's a lot of actors, especially in like the Marvel movies, that actually respect their stunt doubles a lot. Really?
Yeah. They'll post pictures and stuff with them and stuff. Because I mean, they do things that, you know, the actor can't do.
Right.
And,
well, it's funny. I saw this thing about Tom Holland and the guy that plays Bob.
Yeah.
And how they look so similar. Yeah. And I thought that was funny because they're like not even stunt doubles. They're both just kind of now big actors, especially Bob now. Right. Yeah. But it's just funny to see that you have so many potential doppelgangers out there.
Dude, it is crazy. Yeah, I think actually the very opening of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they ask him, they go, hey, so how would you describe your job or whatever, like to Brad Pitt? And Leo's like, well, he's like, if I am acting and let's say I ride a horse, he goes, believe me, I can ride a horse. But if I fall off that horse and break my ankle, he goes, then I can't work for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden it puts a hold on production. And he goes, so basically what he's supposed to do is basically just like carry the load. You've got a budget. You got things to do. You can't be messing your body up during filming because you got to get shit done. Exactly. So, I mean, it's cool when actors who they do like,
but there's sometimes you can definitely see that their double is already in that scene.
I think it's gotten a lot harder to tell.
It has.
I think also if a movie immerses you to the movie, like
you really don't even
notice it. Yeah, there's no way you can tell. But if you kind of like sit there and dissect like how they shot it or how they did things, then you probably can be like, okay, well that's a stunt double. That's how did they do that? You know what I mean?
Totally.
But yeah, Tom Cruise does his own stunts. I know Keanu does.
Jumping off of planes and shit is crazy.
It is wild. Keanu does most of his own stunts when it comes to John Wick.
He does have a double though.
He does. Yeah. But I know that that's for like some of the more crazy stuff, but Keanu does do like all of the fighting and shit.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. A little side note here. I was watching a video about Tom Cruise and I think I had told you, but I'll let our audience know here. There was this video that kind of came out about Tom Cruise doing his like plane stunt for like the new Mission Impossible. And like they had this crazy camera rig set up to his face. And he's like practicing how he's going to spin with the camera on so that it gets like the perfect shot. And like he has to learn how to get that shot in the air because I'm sure he doesn't want to do it twice, right? It's like a one take kind of thing. And I just thought that was really cool. It's like what we learned, you know, talking with Joe.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, if you watch
they're training people how to use these cameras because in these found footage movies, you want them to be behind the camera doing all the movements and stuff because it makes it that much more immersive.
Yeah. Well, if you guys have watched our interview, our Hell House episode, or our interview with Joe Bandelli.
Nice little conversation.
Yeah. He basically told us that, he kind of brought up the fact that Tom Cruise, like you want to go see everything he's in because he's so passionate about making it. And it's true. You know, if you're passionate about something, then people are going to see that. And Tom Cruise is definitely passionate. I saw an interview and he said he's going to keep making movies until the day he dies. He goes, I want to make movies into my hundreds.
I'm like Tom Cruise from that movie where he makes drinks.
What is that, cuisine? I'm like Tom Cruise in Cuisine. Yeah. All right, let's dive into this cult.
Yeah. Let's it's about to get a little darker, so lock in, everybody.
Strap the skin.
Because we're about to get a little dark now.
Cool
Welcome
beans.
to the dark side. All right. Charles Maddox, a.k.a. Charles Manson, did not have an ordinary life. He was born to a teenage mother, one who was an alcoholic, one who would end up later on getting arrested and would no longer be a part of his life, and a father who was gone from the start. He never knew his biological father. His father was said to be a con artist, and once Charles Manson's mother, Kathleen Maddox, had told his father about the news, he vanished. Kathleen would end up finding a new partner in crime right before giving birth to Charles. A man by the name of William Manson was who she fell in love with. Many nights, Maddox and her brother, Luther, would go out drinking and leave Charles with many babysitters. Tough time to be just like left with nannies and babysitters all your life.
Yeah.
You just be like, my parents are never here.
Yeah, that would suck.
It would. Maddox would later divorce William not long into their marriage. Charles would end up keeping William's last name, now to be known as Charles Manson. After countless times going wild with her brother, the two ended up being arrested for some small crimes, one of which included robbery. Charles was now bouncing from place to place, living with some relatives, and living off the streets and getting by with petty crime. Once out of jail, Charles's mother remarried once again, looking to better herself. Sorry, let me re-fucking start that sentence. Jesus Christ. Once out of jail, his mother remarried once again, looking to better herself. She tried to get Manson into a foster home, but he was then made into a ward of the state. He was sent to a Catholic school for delinquents in Indiana. He lasted 10 months in school. He ran away and committed small burglary crimes to get by. Although committing all those crimes just to stay afloat in society, he was put into another correctional facility where he would just try to run away again. At the age of 13, he was sent to an all-boys school, more brutal than the previous couple places. He claimed that he was raped at this institution by the boys there. He attempted to run away once again from the school more than 15 times in a span of a few years, which is quite a lot.
Yeah.
If these claims and things were true, I would definitely want to get the hell out of there. Turning 16, Manson broke out with some help from others this time. He found himself at an honor camp where he was caught raping a young boy while holding him at knife point. After this incident, he found himself at another school.
Manson did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
This is fucking crazy. So it happened to him, but then he wanted to do it to somebody?
I guess so.
Okay.
Kind of a wild one right there.
Flex, but okay. Where's Chris Hansen?
After the incident, he found himself at another school where discipline was crucial. At this institution, he had demonstrated such great behavior that he was able to leave early, even though most of his caseworkers deemed him to have psychic trauma and having antisocial behavior. After being released, he soon had a wife and a newborn on the way. He tried to work to provide for his small little family, but could not leave his prior lifestyle of crime. He was stealing cars and driving them across state lines yet again. This would soon end when he was apprehended for these crimes, along with not showing up to the hearing related to another theft crime. He was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison in California and also led to his divorce. Though while in prison, he acquired a love for music and learned to play the guitar and took a big interest in the idea of Scientology.
Scientology, we were just talking about Tom Cruise. That's actually weird that we just did that. That was not planned, by the way. That's interesting. You know, Tom Cruise is like he's into that stuff. So he's like a part of the Church of Scientology or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a thing. Definitely is.
Yeah.
And Not knocking anybody, but
it is wild though. We just randomly were talking about Tom Cruise. I didn't know that about Charles Manson. So I mean, hey, it's kind of weird.
It's kind of interesting, right? He does all this petty theft and crime and all this stuff, even holding kids at knife point and stuff. And all of a sudden he's just turns his behavior, gets out, and then starts doing it again.
I think, did I miss it? You said he was divorced. When did he get married?
Right after he got out of prison.
Okay. Did I miss that?
Yeah, I said he got married and had a newborn on the way, like immediately after. He was having a kid.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, so kind of crazy, right? Mm-hmm. You think he's going to turn his life around, and then he starts doing more crazy shit.
It's like John Wayne Gacy, right?
Dude.
Remember that?
Which leads me to a big question is, why is there such a big commonality of people's troubled childhoods fucking them up to just do really fucked up shit later on in their life? Well, I mean,
because it's when you're a kid, you're supposed to be learning like the values that you take with you for the rest of your life. And
your brain's developing, and then you're learning bad values from a troubled childhood, right? Yeah. With never having your parents around. That's gotta suck. Yeah. They're not teaching you values, right?
Parents around is a huge deal.
Well, they teach you good values. Yeah. If you're in a nice, comfortable home, which I know some people aren't, but most are, right? You learn a lot of good core values from your family. Yeah. And you then demonstrate them later on in life. I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. It is crazy. I mean, you're right, though. Everybody that we've done so far, like all the serial killers and stuff, they all have pretty much the same childhood.
Oh, yeah.
And then they get older, and then they hang around bad people, or they let their intrusive thoughts get the best of them, and then those thoughts kind of morph into other things. Like that, dude, I have my intrusive thoughts. Honestly, I think the worst that they've ever gone is like if I see like just some guy with like a punchable face, I'm like, God, I'd punch you in the face. But like, I'm not actually going to do it.
Well, I think that's like the worst thing that's the key difference, though, is people might have even worse thoughts than that.
Yeah. You might just sit there and think it, but yeah.
They don't act on them, right? Because they know morally that's wrong. Yeah. Some people don't have that compass and go, you know, I'm just going to fucking do it.
Yeah. They say, fuck it.
Yeah. And they don't worry about what comes next. They just fucking do it without thinking.
Yeah. That is interesting. Yeah, I guess like you're in, well, I mean, think about it. The Predators on like To Catch a Predator, bringing up Chris Hansen again, but, I mean, that's true. It's like some of these guys drive like 6 hours to go meet like a kid. And it's like, you're in the car for 6 hours. Do you not think for one time, what the fuck am I doing?
Should I just turn around?
Yeah. Like, how are you not sitting there and you're like, this is so, I am a piece of shit. And then you just got to be like, I got to turn around. Like, dude,
I don't know if those thoughts ever crossed their mind. And they're probably
that's my point.
They're just probably like, oh my God, look what I'm doing.
That's my point.
And that's the scary part.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have those thoughts because I don't know if they can. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's inside the mind of a killer or a pedophile or whatever the case may be. We don't think like that, so it's really hard to comprehend that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the case with, everybody has their own experiences, so it's hard to kind of judge somebody based on the experiences that you've had versus the ones that they've had.
Right.
But that doesn't mean, offering sympathy when they have these messed up childhoods and then act on it in a horrible way. It's like two negatives don't make a positive, right? Like you can, there's definitely success stories of people who have been in shitty situations. Yeah. I'm saying like when you're doing, like I've heard stories of people who are in shitty situations like this and they get out and they make their lives so much better. But then there's definitely people who just, they take it and they accept it as that's my life. And I'm going to do just messed up stuff because I want to.
Power for the people who get out because who knows what could have happened after the fact, right? Yeah. If you didn't get out, you could end up killed. You could end up badly beaten all the time. Like
or you could end up like one of these people who just likes doing weird shit.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, power to the people who actually get out of those situations.
We applaud hard work on this podcast.
That we do.
Some of our friends don't, but
They probably don't even listen to us.
No. Anyway.
The year is 1967.
The year is 1975.
3 weeks earlier.
Did you win a concert 3 weeks earlier when you were alive? There was a lot of references in what we just did. The 1975. That one's from Neighbors. Great movie. And then the one Jake did was from Rick and Morty.
Classic.
You have to say it because like sometimes
it's about the purge.
We literally talk so much about like we speak in.
That's true. People probably don't even understand our references. They're like, "What the fuck are these two dummies saying?"
Actually, have you seen This Is the End?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when Jonah Hill is kind of like a douche to Jay Busharell or whatever, the main guy, and he's like, Jay says something, and then Jonah Hill's like, "Yo, sick reference though. Like everybody knows, like your references are sick. Like solid. That was a sick reference." Like,
so what you think about every time?
I saw that video and I was like, that's so funny because that's just probably what people think about us. They're just like, dude, but like sick reference though. Like that's so sick.
They don't understand. They don't get it. It was like when a person that we will not name on the show said, "Man, you guys quote movies a lot." Yes, we do, because we watch a lot of movies. The year is 1967. Manson was released from prison, in which he was said to be begging not to be let out. Should have adhered to this warning.
Not to be let out?
Yeah.
Oh.
Should have adhered to this warning, but once released, he ended up moving to the city of San Francisco.
Nice.
Yes. He met a woman by the name of Mary Bunning. She worked as a library assistant in the city. She acted as his gateway to allowing women to move in with them, who eventually became the first members of what is now called the Manson family. These women were young, sitting in their young 20s. They were into the hippie culture and were also looking for a start to their life in cities like San Francisco and LA. Some of the women would hitchhike to certain places around the city. While doing so, they were one day picked up by the drummer for the Beach Boys, Dennis Wilson.
Wow.
They explained their situation, and soon after, he decided to offer them a house he owned, now a new place to stay. A while after living there, though, they were evicted by Wilson's manager, and they found a pretty beat-up ranch in which they moved into, called Spawn Ranch. And that's how they got there and started building their little commune, basically. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy that the Beach Boys drummer was just like...
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he let them in because Manson was pursuing music at the time, and he was trying to kind of be a musician, which is crazy. Like learned guitar in prison, wanted to play his music, started meeting the right people. I mean, you're in cities where that can happen.
I guess like if you have those connections, but like, how is the one dude from the Beach Boys supposed to know like he was a freak? It's almost like,
it's just like the most random coincidence in the world, right?
Well,
you pick up this girl and she's like, yeah, I'm living with these other people and this is what we do. But they were pretty innocent at that time, right? They weren't doing anything crazy yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just a wild coincidence.
It is.
With a vast amount of drugs acting as persuasion to drive these women to believe the beliefs and cult ideologies, specifically LSD, this method proved to work in gaining more and more women to follow his path. Hippie culture, I guess.
Yeah.
Easy persuasion, the brain on drugs.
That's
right?
That's a fair one. I mean, that we can say that for this, the other one was more about like religion. This is just like being on psychedelics
and being told things and going, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, dude, you're right. Whoa.
It's kind of crazy. But, as women trying to get into these cities and you're seeing this guy pulling all these people in.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to make it.
Yeah, you're trying to make it and you're like seeing this thing kind of blossom. You're like, maybe I should go be a part of this.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Especially if all they're doing is just passing around some fucking LSD and shit. Then like, hell yeah.
I suppose.
It seems like an easy way to make some of yourself, I suppose.
That is true. Now, women in the family were used to attract a bunch of men into the cult as well. Something that has not gone away is sex sells. and can be extremely persuasive. But not only this, the main reason people were joining was due to the fact that Manson was persuading everyone in the group that he was the Messiah. Kind of. He could have been. Just kidding.
What?
It's just his beard. He's just got that crazy beard.
Well,
I'm sure that's kind of why it was.
Kind of looked Jesus-esque, I suppose.
Yeah. And people probably back then, you don't have social media.
Well, if you're tripping on LSD, you're probably looking at that guy and he was saying like,
I can walk
Jesus,
on water, and you're like, yeah, you can.
Hell yeah, brother, yeah.
The beliefs of persuasion didn't stop there. During this time, Manson became obsessed with Helter Skelter, a record by the Beatles. He interpreted the lyrics as having a different meaning, one that would lead him to preaching to his followers that a race war was starting. Although this was his interpretation, this was not the intentional meaning as described by Paul McCartney. He claimed it was about the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. It's kind of funny because wasn't there a meme about people like, how many times do you think of the fall of the Roman Empire? Have you ever see those?
Yeah, it's like statistically, people think about the fall of the Roman Empire like 5 times a day or something.
Isn't that crazy?
It's like you don't, but it's kind of.
I found it wild that kind of came up.
There's that scene in New Girl when Schmidt's like trying to be Abraham Lincoln, and he's like, well, statistically, people think about Abraham Lincoln at least once a day or something like that. And later on the Ferris wheel, Robbie was like, oh, Lincoln, I was just thinking about Lincoln today. And he goes, of course you were. You're a human being.
I like at the end of that episode too, he gives him the hat and the coat and he's like,
you're Lincoln
now. Lincoln now. And he's like Magic Mike or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's funny. All right, back into it.
Yes, sir.
While these beliefs are what started his cult ideology, that did not stop him from exploring other avenues. He was intrigued by the story of Armageddon from the book of Revelations. Another was to study the teachings of Scientology. And finally, also gaining an obsession with the Church of Final Judgment. Though, while studying these other avenues, Manson was able to manipulate the minds into thinking they were a part of a greater cause. Once again, manipulation here. Mm-hmm. Playing off the race war, he always wanted his followers to do group LSD trips, where he would take lesser doses and preach to his followers that the African American race was going to rise and kill a large part of the white race. He would say that him and his family would be spared during the time as long as they followed his lead.
I actually didn't know anything about this race war with Charlie Manson.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, dude. And he's doing these group-led LSD trips, and he's doing less doses, so he's more in control, right?
Yeah.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
100%.
And then he's like telling all these people and preaching to these people, follow me to the way of getting spared in this tough time.
Can you imagine?
That's crazy
what that probably looked like? He's probably sitting up there just talking like, oh, you have to do this and that. And they're probably all just like,
their eyes are just bugged.
Yeah,
they're bugged.
Yeah.
They're listening to him play the guitar. And, it's just, you can picture
Charlie, yeah. Doing this shit. Some bell-bottom jeans on and shit.
Dude, I guarantee they had bandanas.
Oh, probably bandanas. Bell-bottoms.
Maybe some dreads. Maybe not. I don't know. The 70s hippie look.
Yeah.
Picture that. Imagine it.
Mm-hmm. That's the cult. It was literally, they looked like hippies.
Yeah. August 8th, 1969. So 2 years had passed. Right?
Okay. 2 years of this shit. Damn.
This would be the year that the Manson family would commit one of their most famous crimes. Charles Manson met a music producer by the name of Terry Melcher.
Mm-hmm.
He was a friend of Dennis Wilson, who I had mentioned earlier, the drummer, right?
Yep.
Whom he met during his time staying at Wilson's residence a few years back. It was said that Melcher took an interest into Manson's music during the time, but nothing really came of it. Now, that night that this crime was committed, there are two speculated theories in why the Manson family did what they did. One being that Manson was irritated that Melcher did not want to pursue helping and investing in Manson's music. Now, the other being that Manson and his followers wanted to, quote unquote, shock the world by killing someone with a lot of power, pull, and of course, being in the public eye.
Mm.
Up to you what you want to believe, but two interesting theories, two very different theories.
I'll give my thoughts after you tell the rest of the crime.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll come back to you, Cal.
Thank you, Jake.
Manson did not participate in the killings, but he definitely instructed his followers to follow up on his intentions. He instructed his followers to kill everyone at the Melcher residence and said, "Do it as gruesomely as you can." It was said that Manson was unlikely aware that the residence was leased to Roman Polanski and his wife, Sharron Tate.
Yep.
However, some claims by his followers state that he knew exactly who would be in that house that night. Would you like to say your thought?
She was
this
pregnant
is a good stopping
too.
point. Yes, she was.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
And I'll get into some scarier shit here in a sec.
Yeah.
Let us know your thought on
So the
that.
whole thing with Sharron Tate, it's I don't know. Probably the shock the world thing. I personally don't think that he probably gave a fuck about music anymore. When he's doing that,
No,
when he's doing
think
that
so
shit,
either.
I think he's just like,
I mean, I can see the wronging and being pissed, but like,
no, I just think like when you get to that point, you probably go, what's next? And then you're talking about a race war and shit. You're probably going to be like, how do we bring what we're doing here to the next level? And then you really are like, make people want to like fear us in a way,
totally.
like make us seem like legit, like you don't want to mess with us kind of thing. And then you go and do something like that.
Totally.
That's my
that.
thought.
I can see that. It's really interesting to think about, you know?
Yeah.
Well, the next night, August 9th, 1969, was the night the Manson cult followers, Charles Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabin, were directed to enter the residence and complete their leader's request. 4 individuals were spending time together at that residence that night. Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, Wojciech Frykowski, sorry if I butchered that name, it's a pretty hard name to pronounce, and Sharron Tate.
Mm-hmm.
Abigail Folger, I'm pretty sure was like Folger's Coffee, I think, is what I read.
Oh, really?
I think. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what I had seen.
Interesting.
Regardless, the cult members sneakily entered the grounds of the residence, hiding in bushes, waiting for signals to press forward towards the house. But a car with bright headlights approached them from within the property. Stephen Parent was a young man who did not know Sharron or any of her friends. He was just friends with William Garretson, the caretaker of Polanski's residence. He was visiting his cottage just behind the house for a bit. After concluding his time with Garretson, Stephen decided it was time to leave and head home. On his way out of the grounds, he was approached by one of the cult members. One of the followers, Charles Watson, also known as Tex. Yeah.
That's Austin Butler in the movie.
Oh, he plays Tex. That's interesting. Got in front of the car and ordered the young man to stop. Stephen begged for his life, saying he would not tell a soul if they let him go. Watson thrashed a knife at him, slicing his tendons in his hand, while also breaking a watch off Stephen's wrist. He then was shot several times in the chest. Watson then ordered the cult members to help push the car up the driveway. The members entered and encountered the 4 people socializing at the residence and instructed them to follow their orders. They moved everyone into the living room of the house. Tex shot Jay Sebring and then proceeded to tie him and Sharron Tate together with rope. Another one of the followers, Atkins, started violently swinging their knife. Sharron fought for her life, but found herself at the wrong end and was stabbed. She pleaded for her life and was begging that they spare her unborn child. The follower kept stabbing her numerous times and didn't stop. She was stabbed 16 times and was over 8 months into her pregnancy. It was told later by Kasabin that Atkins' last words to Sharron were, "Look, bitch, I have no mercy for you. You're going to die and you better get used to it."
Jeez.
Dude, there's a couple interviews actually on one of the documentaries on Netflix and on YouTube where they literally, she said she stabbed her and felt no shame, nothing. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah.
But now, like, talking about it, she says she feels remorse, but that's
she's
fucking
alive now.
Yeah. Or at least in the documentary, they were talking to her. I don't know if she's still alive today. But,
Yeah.
But isn't that's cold hearted, dude? Like, no.
I'm telling you,
shame.
when you get kind of a purpose, like how Charles Manson gave them, you kind of like, that's it with these cults, man. It becomes like their whole life.
I know.
And so like when
it's
you
that or nothing, right?
Well, it's like it's kind of like what we do for our jobs, right?
Yeah.
Like it's our job, and it's like what we have to like what we do for this podcast and for our company and stuff. It's like, yeah, it's hard work, but like we'll do anything for it. Like we'll we'll really. It's like, damn, if there's something we don't want to do, like we'll do it because we have, you know what I mean? Like we're passionate about it because it gives
100%.
us purpose.
Yeah.
I can unfortunately see the side where she doesn't have remorse because Charles Manson's family was her purpose.
Right. Yeah.
So that was just like a job to her.
Yeah. That's so fucked.
Isn't that fucked up? Yeah. But it's like, it weirdly makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Talking about cults and stuff, I mean, it weirdly makes sense.
It's just crazy how you have so much power over these people that you can just tell them to go kill someone and they will.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Folger and Frykowski ended up escaping out the front door during the occurrence of the stabbing. They were running for their lives, but it didn't matter as one of the members caught them and stabbed them to death as well.
Damn.
They left their bodies on the lawn. Though before they left the residence, the followers took the blood of Sharron and wrote a cryptic message on the front door of the house. It read, "Pig." It was one of the biggest murders of the time. However, this was only the beginning. The night after, Manson was displeased with what his followers had done. This led to Manson now being involved and drove them to murder the LaBiancas August 9th. They drove to a new address. Manson told everyone to wait a minute and that he would return. A few moments passed. Here he came down the driveway. It was said that Manson went up to the house alone and tied up the couple that had lived there. Manson then commanded his followers to follow him up to the house. This is where the night would end similar to the previous night. They would then stab and kill Leno, and Rosemary LaBianca and write cryptic messages with their blood across the walls of the residence as well. However, the murders did not stop there. Again and again, Manson and his followers would brutally take the lives of innocent people. With these horrendous murders happening in such a short time span, investigations were ongoing by authorities almost immediately. Once Manson and his followers were the prime suspects in all the connected crimes, they were convicted on 9 counts of first-degree murder. However, there were a bunch of cases that led the authorities to believe that the cult was linked to many, many more that ended in similar ways to Tate and LaBianca. Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild that he kind of took it on himself after being pissed.
Well, I don't know why he was mad. Was it because they didn't kill Roman or whatever, or the other guy, or the dude who was leasing it?
I would assume it's probably maybe he was expecting some other type of outcome, and when they told him, he was just like, "Nah, this is how you do it."
Maybe it was too messy,
or it wasn't messy enough.
Maybe,
right? Like, oh, you didn't make them suffer; you just killed them this fast. Like, you got to tie him up and then stab him, let him, do fucked up shit.
Sounds like he did that though.
He did. To the LaBiancas.
No, I'm saying like Sharron Tate and stuff. It sounded like he tied him up, and then I don't know. They shot the guy in the front lawn.
They probably weren't expecting that guy.
Yeah. Damn, that's just unfortunate timing.
Yeah. It is all about timing in the world too. Isn't that
crazy.
The truth?
You just randomly decide one day you're gonna go check out your little condo or whatever, and then all of a sudden you run into some dude who just wants to kill you for no reason.
Yeah. And you're like
what the
begging
fuck?
for your life just to get away, and then you die there.
It's like, what in the hell? Like, why?
Just like go back to the cottage, I guess.
It's the weirdest shit, dude. People are weird. Anyway, keep going.
In December of the same year, still 1969, was the downfall of the Manson family.
Nice.
Investigations had taken place. The Tate murders had hit the news across the nation. At first, the LAPD detectives believed that the murders were due to a drug deal. Disregarding all the evidence, the LAPD saw no connection to anything. They ruled out the possibility of the Tate and LaBianca murders being connected at first. Although this claim was made, the detectives kept digging, looking for any possible connection and similarities to crimes happening around the same time. They eventually learned about the murder of a 34-year-old Gary Hinman, a music teacher and graduate student at UCLA, who was held hostage and brutally murdered as per Manson's orders due to Manson believing he had inherited assets that the family assumed they were entitled to. The detectives working in this case noticed similarities in the murder weapons used, similar stab wounds, and of course the writing of blood on walls and doors. Kind of leaving your mark to connect murders. It's like, I don't know, what's the point? You're trying to send a message? Like,
yeah, I don't think he gave a shit about the authorities.
Probably not.
I think he genuinely was. That's what I'm saying. Like with the whole first part, the Sharron Tate thing, the reason why he wanted to do that in the first place, like the whole thing of murders, is because he wanted to show like they meant business, I guess.
Yeah.
Business being, some dumb shit, but yeah, I mean that's.
I guess but I mean, it's an easy way to be like, yep, they hit here. I mean, it's after the fact, but.
Yeah.
And then it just adds to your freaking charges.
He's on Spawn Movie Ranch, and that they probably thought of that as like kind of like a fortress. So if like the cops did come, they could like fight them off or whatever. Yeah. Like I'm sure they felt safe.
Have you ever seen Red State?
I don't think so.
Oh, you need to watch that movie.
Yeah.
It's a pretty crazy movie. Anyway, it kind of reminds me of that, like fighting off other people outside, like a property you own.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, at this time, an acquaintance of family member Susan Atkins tipped off the LAPD that the family was involved in these crimes committed that past month. They had to act fast, so they went and apprehended Susan for Hinman's murder. She told them about her involvement and others that were involved with her as well. Why do you think she just gave up so easily?
All it takes is one. Right? With like everything. All it takes is one person.
Just like that.
Well, I think that she probably felt guilt. And when you start gaining a big following and you're doing some stuff that might not be morally okay. I mean, it wasn't morally okay, but I'm saying like it might not be. There's going to be people who would disagree with that. Even if it was a small thing.
Mm-hmm.
So doing what you're doing with like killing these people and these families and stuff. I would assume that at some point, morality has to kick in for somebody. And I'm sure that she wasn't the only one.
This is wrong. I think.
I'm sure she wasn't the only one thinking that, but I think that like, there's those, I can't like name a specific movie, but like there's movies when like they're torturing somebody and like somebody in the back is like, come on, man, that's enough.
Yeah.
It's because morality kicks in. So maybe she probably saw something and was like, what am I doing?
It's like in The Purge, right? When he's kind of like pushing that stab wound even further and further.
Yeah.
And then the mom's like, okay, when are we actually going to like stop hurting this guy?
Yeah, exactly. I will say that was a dumb decision. They should have just like brought the dude outside, but I get it.
What do you think their motive was behind all this, though? Like, it seemed like they had pretty planned attacks, though, on these people.
No, I told you. I mean, I don't know why they targeted these individuals, but I do know. I don't know, but like, my belief is that they just wanted to prove themselves. They wanted to prove, hey, we're kind of like a force to be reckoned with. That's kind of my thoughts.
Going back to the Sharron Tate murder, like, had she not been there that night, she probably would still be alive, killing it in movies. Who knows? But
yeah,
it's wrong place, wrong time, and it's just crazy.
Yep.
And it's just fascinating that all these people did all this, just with a little bit of manipulation and some drugs. And preached to by some lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
Wild, wild stuff. Still, the same year, 1969, members of the cult had warrants out for their arrest. However, at first, the family was not wanted for the murders, but actually crimes of auto theft. Later, the LAPD had found fingerprints and other evidence, including the revolver used to commit a few of the murders, linking the members to the crimes. This would eventually lead to a trial by jury, during which the family members would loiter by the entrances of the courthouse. And that's not even the craziest part of all this. Manson showed up to the trial with an X carved on his forehead. Because of all the disruptions, some of the members were subpoenaed and not to be around the trial while others were testifying. The other members that were not showed up on the streets with X's carved into their heads as well, and some even threatened to sacrifice themselves if Manson was found guilty. Other members would also threaten witnesses in an attempt to get some of the witnesses not to testify. The prosecution would have rested its case and proven that Manson and some of the family members were in fact guilty of many of the crimes they were involved in. In January 1971, the jury officially gave the guilty verdict. A few months later, Manson was taken to a prison in LA County for several counts of murder and a count of conspiracy to commit murder. In the state of California, it was determined that the death penalty was unconstitutional and was then resentenced to life in prison with a chance of parole. He was in prison from 1971 to 2017. He had numerous attempts of parole, but every single time he was denied. He eventually stopped showing up to his hearings for the parole chance. 2012 was his last and 12th parole hearing, and he was not there and still got denied release once again due to mental health issues that were deemed too great of danger and a threat to be released. In 2017, he was admitted to a hospital due to gastrointestinal bleeding. While being in and out of the hospital throughout the year, he eventually died by cardiac arrest based on colon cancer he acquired late in his life.
I remember that actually. Yeah, they were like, that was when I was senior in high school. Mm. And I remember everybody was like, oh, Charles Manson finally died. And I'm like, I thought he was dead. I thought he was already dead, but damn, that's crazy.
Just rotting in prison.
Yeah.
Kind of a crazy story about the Manson family, It seems like religion back in the day was an easy scapegoat to manipulate young people, along with drugs in this case, right? And it seems like a very common theme across cults in the ages.
I think,
especially religion. Like, that's like top tier.
Yeah, but I think this is a good, it's kind of another version of what we had already talked about. And then what we will talk about in the next two.
Yeah, but there's no mass killing. It's just like...
But, I mean, they did a bunch of killings.
Well, yeah, they did the killings, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's interesting because you kind of look at this like... like when you think about like an old like hippie, like in the 60s or the 70s, you think about like they liked drugs, they liked, rock and roll, and they liked sex, and they liked, whatever. It seems like these were just hippies that did all that stuff, but just killed people too.
And we're kind of given a place to stay, like on Spawn Ranch, they had a place to stay.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you created this society of like hippies, and
which people thought was probably harmless. And then he started telling you shit, and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
And then he's like, go do this. And people started doing it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And I'm sure other followers of the cult that weren't also involved in some of the murders were probably just sitting there going, I didn't know we killed people,
Yeah, I'm just here getting high.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. That could be it too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Couple end thoughts I had here were with the manipulation, whether a person doing the manipulating actually believes in what they are saying or not is kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. And the Manson family built such young, vulnerable followers, right? And made them do some of the wildest things imaginable.
Yeah.
Like I said, they probably joined, didn't know that they were going to even kill people, and some did, and they're just like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. But other people were probably holding down Spawn Ranch, just doing day-to-day tasks.
It's true.
You know? Because it's just, it's crazy.
Yeah. I do think that's a cool or a good point. It's like, do they believe in what they're actually preaching, I suppose? And it's kind of like the thing with Heaven's Gate, bring them up again really quick. But do I really truly think that they believed in what they were preaching? Yeah, because, well, I don't know. But I think that if you tell yourself a lie for long enough, it actually becomes the truth for you.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe they kind of thought like they were something, but then they were like, oh, we could like use this to, and then when it gets as big as it does, you become like passionate about it, and you're like, oh, like this is actually a legit thing. Like you start to believe it yourself. Mm-hmm. And so maybe, but also maybe not.
One thing I wrote down here that is pretty relatable, and I'm going to talk about From again, because I thoroughly enjoyed that show. Mm-hmm. But there's one part of it that one of the characters, she does horrendous acts of violence because she's getting told by this greater being that if you kill these people, good things will happen to you and you'll be saved and all this type of thing. And it's like, if he's preaching that to these young, vulnerable people, I'm sure they're thinking, if we follow him, we'll be saved, and not die.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how convincing he was. I didn't live through that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he was convincing enough because he got people to do what he asked.
It's true. Mm-hmm.
And with that power and control over people, it's just a fascinating topic of discussion, I think.
Yeah.
Because
that's why we're doing Cult Month.
as we have these other couple episodes come out, you'll really see why just the brain and manipulating it is just insanely overpowered, basically.
Yeah.
And getting people to do what you ask and what you want is easier than you might think.
Yeah, we have well, I'll let you tie it up first. Are you done?
Good.
You're good.
Mm-hmm. You can have your closing thought.
Yeah, I basically was just going to say Heaven's Gate was two older people who just wanted to, I don't know, they thought that they were meant for a higher purpose, and they chose to follow a thing flying, or extraterrestrial spaceship flying behind a comet, and the Hale-Bopp comet, and then they committed a mass suicide to try to get onto the ship, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But people were doing it. Kids were doing it. It was nuts. And then you have this one where, just doing some psychedelics, and you have a place to stay, and I guess that's all it takes for you to go out and kill a bunch of people, which is crazy.
And maybe it's a thought that I've kind of had while even readdressing the story, is, do you just say something to people that are following you and seeing what sticks? Like, what if he said, let's go kill these people, and other people were like, you know what? Nah. Well, would he have let it go? Or because people said, yeah, he's like, okay.
I don't know.
Maybe I have control of them.
Because remember, in the Heaven's Gate again, the dude and the girl, they met each other, at that hospital or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they got that one lady to literally leave her family and follow them across a road trip.
That was crazy.
And then she felt bad and went back, but she gave him her credit card and stuff, just nuts. But it's like, and all they had,
it's like, hi, I just met you. Here you go.
Yeah. All they had thought up of that whole thing, like, was that they had seen the Book of Revelations, and that they were there, and that they were meant to be like these two higher beings. It had nothing to do with the comet and everything yet. Like, and just that thought alone, they got some lady to leave her family.
I know.
So like, I think that if you say, I mean, we've talked about it. We could say we get hate on some of our videos for sure. Like people who don't agree with like our movie, like rankings and stuff. Doesn't matter. I mean, who really gives a shit? But the point is, it's like, we've gotten to the point where we realize that if we said that the sky is blue, somebody's going to come out and say like, actually the sky is only blue because of, you know, so and so. And my point is like, people are so opinionated, but yet like they believe shit though. You know, it's so weird how there is this contrast between like, there's people who like the keyboard warriors that we're encountering right now, who they basically like will give
if you say this movie is number 5 and they just go, you should be canceled for saying that or something like that. And you're like, dude, I just personally didn't think the movie was good.
But they don't agree with that. Right. And then that's their opinion. And then it sticks with it. But then it's also like these people that we're talking about in these cults and stuff, they have their own stances, but then they hear something and they change their mind so much that they drop everything from family to job to whatever, their whole life to just follow somebody.
And they become fully invested.
Yeah. Which is so interesting to see. Like, I guess maybe social media is good for that. Maybe it made people just like more stubborn, maybe, but I mean, I don't know.
Or a lot more aware, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like you could still gain a lot. If you go out and you say some shit, I feel like you could still gain some kind of following, no matter what you say.
You can say nothing like a good New York slice and have millions of views, bro.
Okay. Anyway. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. That's a good place to stop. No, that was good. That was a good Jake-led episode. Don't you guys agree? Yep. Jake doesn't get a lot of those.
So hopefully more soon.
But yeah. I mean, I hope you guys are enjoying.
We'll see though, because
Cult Month.
You know, our indie fan base is growing, and we plan to have some very good surprises in the near future.
Yes. But as of right now, we do hope that you guys have enjoyed Cult Month. We have, and we will start. We have a 2-parter to end Cult Month.
Yep. So get ready for that.
It's the big one. You guys probably know
the big one.
But the first episode is about Jim Jones, his life and everything. Jim Jones was the leader of People's Temple. And that shit is probably one of the worst cults to have ever existed. And it was so much so we were going to do another one. And it got to a point where I was just doing the research on Jim Jones's whole life. And I go, this itself could literally be a whole episode. So I'm like, Jake, we're just going to do his life first. And then the next episode, we'll do the whole cult and stuff. So stay tuned for that. Got a 2-parter. It'll be fun. Well, it'll be good. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting for sure.
Fun is a term we're using in terms of it's fascinating to us, right? Yes. Not necessarily the situation's fun, but talking about it and kind of learning about how all these things happened is quite interesting.
I'd rather learn about this stuff than math. So in a way, yes, it is fun.
Yeah, exactly. So stay tuned, guys. We'll see you next week for another episode. It's going to be great. Just a quick reminder. We are on Patreon. Got some bonus content there.
Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram for polls and blind rankings.
Always trying to stay engaged with you guys, asking what movies you love. Did you know, those are pretty big hits right now.
If you are just listening, make sure you hop over to the YouTube, because on the YouTube we have the visual versions of each episode, and we also have other videos on there, including short films, vlogs, etc.
Exactly.
So
other fun stuff coming soon. So we hope to have that out. And if you have a horror idea, feel free to let us know. You know how, Cal?
How, Jake?
Well, you can find us at SPN-Productions.com. You can submit your own horror stories to us. We'll review them, see if we like it. And
yeah, if you have an idea for a podcast, just like we do, or if you have an idea for a novel and you want to kind of get the word out,
or a short film,
let us know, because we we would love to have it under the SPN Productions label. So
yeah.
Cool.
Thank you guys. We'll see you around the graveyard.
Thanks for listening to this chilling episode of The Supernaturals. For your protection, make sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And stay tuned for the next episode.